Good morning, campers! Rise and shine for another episode of Two Maesters for Comics 101, where we talk all things fantasy, incest, and wyverns, baby. Today, we're talking about House of the Dragon, or should I call it House of the Wyverns? Or, sorry, I mean House of Viagra for Daemon Targaryen. Damn, Daemon, back at it again. It's myself and my dear friend Joshua here. Josh, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks, Morgan. It seems like everything is really starting to hot up now in the TV series. Like, you see, like, lines have been crossed, the insults get worse and worse each episode you watch.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's now no way back, especially at the end of the episode. We will discuss this later, but no spoilers for now.
Yeah, true. It's too early for spoilers. But I just say, though, the insults have been good. So that first scene with Laenor, when they present the baby to Alicent, and Alicent's like, nice baby. Maybe if you keep trying, Laenor, maybe you'll find one that looks like you. And I'm like, oh, damn. Alicent is like the new Cersei. You know?
I know, like what happened within those 10 years that was like, you know what? I think she's like, the new her is basically, you know what? F this. I'm going to make sure everything's fine for me and my family, me and my own, and screw everybody else who tries to interfere. Like, yeah. And I think it's like, I think one of the things that we did discuss like offline is like the character jump. Like Laenor's sister, which is weird because in the last episode, so episode 5, she looked
older than
than Rhaenyra and also Alicent. But then at the beginning of the series, she looked younger than them. Like,
she's clearly aging backwards and forwards because of magic.
Yeah. Or maybe it's the Valyrian. Could be their genes.
Yeah, maybe
their magical genes.
Exactly. There's the good explanation.
Yeah, and probably you'll see that her father and mother haven't aged at all either when we see them later on in the season. And it's true. Weird. Like,
that's true. Yeah, we didn't see Corlys Velaryon in that one. I bet he hasn't aged.
Yeah, and I think like the king. Like, I think the excuse, because my brother was watching it with me. He's like, wow, he looks really old. I was like, yeah, but he's also ill. So I think they're like playing the ill angle.
Wow, man, King Viserys is not looking. He's watching up from the battlements of the kids in the playground. The playground training with swords. But wow, he looked very crusty, very crusty.
And like two people haven't changed. You said like Daemon hasn't changed, but also Sir Criston as well looks exactly the same, just with a hair change.
Damn. It's because he's too hot. He's too hot to age. I mean, Laenor's aged. I think Laenor's got less hot, in his old age. I don't like this new hairstyle,
Yeah. And like, even like at the start of the episode, it seemed like they wanted to show you like the whole shock factor of it.
Yeah, that pregnancy scene at the beginning of the...
And like, I was asking, why does she want to see the child? Like, why is it important? And I think it was very clever by the writers not showing the hair color of her other children until it had been discussed. And that's when Alicent said, oh, if you keep trying, maybe you'll have one that looks like you. Because then it like really heavily links to like Game of Thrones and how important hair plays in the Game of Thrones universe.
Yeah, well, because like a certain Joffrey, for example.
Yeah, and his brother and sister and everything that the hand tried to sort out, which then passed it on to Eddard Stark, and then him finding out the truth eventually caused his death. And it's kind of like weird that they named the child also Joffrey as well. Of all the names to pick.
And exactly, that's where that's going to go. You can't have another Joffrey.
Yeah.
I mean, the new Joffrey, though, in this show's got to be Aegon. You remember Aegon?
Yes,
yeah. I mean, remember that lovely explicit scene of him jerking off outside the window? Oh, mind, that's the same window that King Tommen jumps out of.
Yeah. It's like suicide.
The contrast is ridiculous. And you know what's even funny? He's a David Tennant's son. I think he's called Ty Tennant.
Wow.
Or I don't know how you pronounce it. I think it's a Scottish name. But it's crazy. Imagine that, like seeing your son, like that's his first breakthrough, and it's just him masturbating.
His first major scene, his first major thing. Oh wow, yeah.
Wow, he shouldn't have started in House of the Dragon then. But yeah, I mean, I've got to admit, I'm loving the I'm not sure I'm a big fan of like the time change and like the character switch, but it is really good. I mean, I just love this Game of Thrones universe so much that every episode I've said, yeah, it's really good. But, maybe one or two things, but it's always just baseline really good. But, I love, because I read something online where it actually feels like a new series has begun, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It really does, because it's like a pilot, like the way that episode starts, it's such a big critical scene of like her giving birth. It's so graphic, but so like forthcoming, so honest, like about what that whole process is like. And then, it's one entire camera scene going all the way from that room of Laenor up the stairs, all the way up to Alicent.
Yeah.
And there's something really like this is the start of a new series feeling about, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think also when it started showing off, because my sister and brother were watching, and my sister didn't know about the character change. So she was like, okay, then is this like a flashback? Like, who is that person? And then you realize, you realize that, oh yes, they've actually done a time jump, and this is what Rhaenyra looks like now. And I think some of the things that we have missed, like in between, like the whole 10-year split, is like the constant back and forths.
Yeah, between,
because we saw like what their relationship was in episode 5 at the end with their wedding / engagement party that they had. And then now we see like it's full on, they hate each other.
Yeah, they really do. Whilst there was you thought there was maybe a bit of like, at least they're still communicating properly.
Yeah.
But then this one, they just really bloody hate each other, and they're actually very openly, like Alicent's really stepped into her own, because she's really like taking on this role that like she's gonna kill my kids unless they take over. Like, when Aegon's bullying, it's really weird because Aegon was actually teaming up with the
but there's,
how do we even refer to them? Is it cousin?
Cousins, and I think cousins, and also those.
It's so much. There's so much incest that we just don't know. Damn.
They're his. No, they're not even cousins. They're so Rhaenyra's children are the nephews to Queen Alicent's children. So
okay,
that is messed up.
I couldn't follow that. I know that is messed up.
Yeah,
it's just got to pass the point. We don't need to comment about it anymore because it just is common.
Yeah,
and like especially when Rhaenyra pledges to let me marry off one of my kids to your daughter, and I was like, well, there you go. They're making the incest even weirder. Like the one, at least with King Viserys, I almost swore that was close. King Viserys, he branched out a little bit and married someone outside of the Targaryen dynasty.
Yeah.
And then it's just, well, they're just going to ruin it by marrying back into the incest. Like,
and I think for her it was like it was a play to basically stop all the rumors. That, if we're married into this family, it means that the rumors then mustn't be true. And I think that's what kind of, I think if you look back at Game of Thrones, what they tried to do with like Joffrey marrying Sansa Stark, was if they then did get married and they actually had like a proper marriage relationship, they would have the Starks on their side, and through the Starks they would have also the North. They would also have what's Catelyn's family? The Tullys on their side, and then also the Arryns would be on their side through the Starks as well. And then just don't forget, they also have the Lannisters because it's through there. So I think she was just trying to be like, okay, the best way to sort the situation out, let me marry my son to, oh my days, this incest is just too much for me. Like marrying a child to their aunt who's also still older than them as well, which is
it just is like weird. It's like it's funny to us, but to them it's just so normal. It's so accepted within their family that it's mental.
Yeah, and I think you really start to see now that the king is kind of like the king that's in the book that we read about, that's indecisive, who isn't able to stand up.
He's really
you can kind of see it now. Like, I think a lot of the issues between Rhaenyra and Alicent could have been stopped if he just put his foot down and was more of a. I think more. It's wrong to say more.
He is trying. He is trying though, but everyone is accusing him of like willful blindness. Like, I just want everyone to get along. But like, you remember he's watching in the garden. It's like, isn't there nothing better than watching boys just working out together and stuff?
But I think it's like he's too passive. Like he needs to be more assertive, I think, with it. Like full on sit them both down and say, like probably like I think really good example. Eddard Stark, when Sansa and Arya were fighting with each other, he sat both of them down. I think it was like in season 1, and was basically talking to them like the importance of being sisters and how important they are. And possibly later on, they probably remembered what their dad said
killed Lord
after.
Baelish.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
And the fact after that their father died, they probably remembered that conversation. Like instead of like sitting down and doing that between Alicent and Rhaenyra, it's like, oh no, everything will sort itself out. Everything will be fine. Let's just play happy family. And then you're like, no, there's actual real tensions between people. Instead of like directly going towards like the tension, he's like, you know what? Let's just wrap this up and make it look extra nice and special and not actually solve cover up everything.
Cracks, which is only going to make it worse because it's going to like fracture.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
And you know, the whole thing with was it Lionel Strong? Was the guy the clubfoot? What's his name?
I think it is
Harwin Strong's brother. It's really weird. So that's Harwin Strong's brother.
Yeah.
Harwin Strong's the guy who who has kids with Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
All controversial. Sorry, I mean Laenor's kids with Rhaenyra. He is the brother of, I think it's Lord Larry's the clubfoot.
Yeah.
And their father is the Hand of the King.
Yeah.
At the end of that episode, he basically has them both killed. His own bloody dad and his brother.
And it's weird because it's like the whole second son syndrome again, all over again.
Yeah, he is
a second son.
Oh,
and I think at first he just wanted his brother to die because he knew that his father would eventually die of old age anyway.
Who's a second son out of you and
Jeffrey.
Oh, good. Oh no! Please don't cancel us.
And I think like he meddled with the whole scheme to convince, because you know how honorable his father is, to get him to say that I have to step down because of what my son's done. My son is sleeping with the princess, the king's daughter, and also
and he has no ambition as well. You know, when Viserys is like, "You are truly a man of no ambition."
And the fact that he was like, I think what surprised me was that he still had loyalty to his family, like to say that I can't tell you why I need to step down, but it is a family issue and it's a black stain on my family, but I can't tell you why I need to leave.
But then Viserys is like, nah.
And he's like, and that's the thing. He's like, no, your highness, I need to. And I think the way that Alicent is like, no, listen, he wants to leave. Let him leave.
Sneaky. She's like, no, let him tell you. Or something. Yeah, it's like she was being very, very sneaky there.
Yeah.
And I guess, well, they're both dead. The fire killed both of them. But then I guess Alicent didn't want it.
And I think that's like a key thing that I think people with power have, that I think I heard George R. Martin talk about it, is that if someone with power says something, you need to be careful who you say it in front of, because people will try and do something for you just to curry favor with you. Like
exactly, and they fall into war. Like essentially that's what happened in World War One. I think we were talking about you were talking about last episode. It's kind of like stumbled in because
And like a really good example my sister was telling me about was that there was a king of England and he basically had a row with his archbishop, and he said, would anyone rid me of this bishop? His two knights hear it. They go into the abbey where the bishop is and murder him.
Damn.
Yeah, and then the king was like, why did you do it? And they said, because you said, would anyone rid me of this bishop?
They took it too soon.
And that's the thing, like, with power, you also have to be careful, because either people will take you like literally and say, you know what, this person wants to do something, I support this person, I must do it. Or they'll be like, you know what, to curry favor with this person, I will then do this deed. And that's what Clubfoot basically did. He used Alicent's desire to have someone on her side and the situation be resolved in her favor, that he then used it for his own gain, to then kill off his father, kill off his brother,
second son,
and then cleverly used the curse of Harrenhal as the reason why they died.
I know, that was a pretty good one. And again, like Harrenhal is such a cool place. It was so good to see again. I mean, it looked kind of different. I need to rewatch it how it was in just Game of Thrones series. It's a lot darker and spookier whilst you saw it during the day here, so it didn't look too bad apart from all the murdering that happened.
And I think that another thing about the whole thing is that who's the guy in Game of Thrones? Who the executioner who has his tongue cut out. That he
Silent Pain.
Yeah, that
What
spars
a
with
name.
Jamie. Yeah,
What a name. Honestly, if someone's called their surname's Pain, you should definitely avoid them. Right.
and I'm thinking, is that how was he a part of that order? Because you know how Clubfoot goes to the prisons and basically picks out all these people who are done for crimes they should be hanged for, and was basically saying that, you know what, if you then do what I say, you just have to basically cut off their tongues,
So
and
they can't
basically
tell,
so they can't tell anybody, and because they are peasantry, they don't know how to read or write, so they can't communicate whatsoever.
They're
So
basically his henchmen.
Yeah, so
forever,
basically, which is a very, very clever ploy because he picked people who have nothing to lose, and by teaming up with him, have everything to gain. Because they're thinking to themselves, a tongue is okay, I won't be able to speak, but it's better than being hung or tortured to death.
Yeah, true. They,
And
they get to keep their life.
Yeah, and also I think some people like a purpose, like they're doing something that has meaning, that they believe has meaning, and being a part of like this secret brotherhood of some kind of like similar when they put their hoods up. Yeah, like it reminded me of like Assassin's Creed when they put up their hoods. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty crazy. They're cool. I wonder if we'll see more of them, or they're just like a one-hit wonder. I imagine you'll probably see more because there's gonna be a lot of like assassinations.
Yeah,
in this series, I feel.
And I think the clever thing that he's done is that he's got himself right next to the Queen, and now she speaks to him. She knows that he can get results done.
Yeah.
And if he then stays with the Queen and her child Aegon becomes king, he then can request, oh, can I have Harrenhal?
Yeah.
Because technically it is his right, but I think it's kind of...
Well, he's a second son. He'd never have gotten it.
Yeah, and
so
I think...
this is how he gets it.
And I think based on like Game of Thrones universe, even if it's your inheritance, you still have to like send a petition to the king to then the king to grant you the land as your inheritance. So I think that's what he means. And also possibly he could be asking for like maybe even like a favorable marriage later on, because it didn't seem like he was married at all.
What, with the king? Or what, from Alicent?
Yeah, maybe a marriage from Alicent, maybe a marriage to someone, a wealthy woman who has land or money.
Maybe Alicent's daughter when she comes of age.
I think that might be too far a stretch, because then they would say that the fact that he's a second son and the fact that he has no royal blood, but then he could just like, for example, find someone who's an only child who is about to inherit loads of money and then just marry her and therefore inherit her property as well.
Your plans for your love life? I know it's certainly the plans for mine. In this economy, you know, marrying for financial reasons is always the most romantic thing. Yeah, and I do really like that sort of dynamic he adds to the show, because he's like a Peter Baelish. Because I'm starting to see which roles everyone has in this. Like he's a Lord Baelish figure. And Daemon, I guess was there someone there? Daemon's kind of like Jaime Lannister in a way, don't you?
But I think the issue with him is that Jaime one had a bad rap and then used that to his advantage. Because like when you find out that he killed the king because the king wanted to destroy King's Landing, and then you really start to realize, okay, then so if he didn't purposely go out and kill the king, maybe the reason he did kill the king was because he was going to kill everyone within King's Landing. You kind of then see that, and you also see later on with Brienne of Tarth that he actually has a nice side to him. Even the fact that when Catelyn says to free her daughters and find her daughters, he actually goes out and sets out to do it. But I think the issue is, I think Daemon is...
But then remember it, so before you go on to Daemon, Jaime's character development at the end is like, lol, he goes to Brienne, lol, see ya, and then just runs back to Cersei. Because it's almost like they rushed the last season of Game of Thrones. But, sorry, what were we going to say about Daemon?
I think Daemon is more like... let me try and think of someone in the series. I think he's a more level-headed...
Damn, Daemon.
A more level-headed, like, maybe... Ramsay Bolton, more of a level-headed Ramsay Bolton.
No, I'd say he's like a Jaime. I'd say he's got like Jaime-ish vibes, because I think we're going to see, like, first of all, we haven't even spoken about what's happened with Dave. Well, we spoke about Lena, but their whole relationship thing, like, this is where I wasn't a big fan of the jump thing, because you literally just see them flirting at the wedding in the previous episode. I'd love to have seen a bit more of like why they actually why he actually ends up deciding to have kids with her and stuff, and I assume they're married.
Yeah, and
why they're in the Free Cities as well? I don't understand. Did they explain that?
And that's the weird thing. Oh yeah, I thought that she had married off because remember they said that they were going to try and marry her off to one of the sons of the
was it Bravos or something?
Yes. So I thought that she married one of the sons of the nobles or the head of Bravos, and I think that's what I thought was happening. But
yeah, he's being dined there.
Yeah, and then the weird thing for me was like, so literally his original, the woman he married, the woman that he took with him to Dragonstone is now completely forgotten. Like, what happened there? Like, to your
Lady
point,
Viserys.
yeah,
spoilers. I'm not going to say anything. that was close. There you go. That wasn't a swear. That was just going to be a very naughty spoiler. But yeah, that whole relationship and oh my god, what happened with Lena? Did we talk about this earlier? I think we spoke about this before we started filming. But Lena and the dragon Vhagar, when she just basically kills herself, that scene was, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then seeing Daemon just like with the two kids, just kind of like speechless and just walks away because damn, Daemon. Back at it again. Like I guess he's not father material, he's too much of a rogue. But that whole scene was pretty emotional. Like that was really well done. That was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I think the way that they did both of the scenes as well, to the birthing scene at the beginning and also that scene as well.
Yeah, with Lena. Can we explain what happened next? I was a bit confused. Was it she was killing herself because she had a miscarriage and then that was going to kill her, or was it because she just hated what Daemon was doing and by ignoring her? I wasn't quite sure there.
I wasn't sure either. I was thinking partly what you were saying, that is because the Maester did say that the child isn't coming out, so I was thinking maybe that would then eventually cause her to die. So instead of dying way, she chose to die on her own terms.
Maybe. Oh my god, I think I might know why. Because Viserys, Daemon's brother, maybe she knows that he asked for a cesarean on Emma and killed her. Was it because she thought that Daemon was going to ask for the same to happen?
Maybe.
Because they had two girls together, right? No boys. Yeah. So, oh my god, maybe it can't have been for that reason, could it? That sounds too good for it not to be true. I need to rewatch that episode and find out. God, that'd be cool though. I mean, not cool. I mean, that's pretty horrible. It's still pretty horrible. But you know what I mean.
Maybe. And one of the things that she kept on banging on about, which I think one thing that I have to say, it's like Daemon did change, especially when he was like, you know what, I'm fine being here. They want our dragons. They give us gold. And he's like, this is just a simple transaction. No politics, no nothing. And I think he was at peace, but maybe she did that to make sure that he isn't at peace and to try and convince him to go back and to take his children back and reclaim what technically
she saw he was tempted.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Maybe. So maybe he is going to take those kids back with him and look after them, although I just really don't think he's good daddy material. Like, oh, Daemon.
True. Probably dump them off to a maester or to a nunnery and then just leave them there.
Yeah, leave them at like a toy area or something, a toy shop, just run for it. Yeah. That was really cool.
Oh, just one thing. Because we didn't see Corus Velaryon at all in the episode, what is he going to do when he finds out that his daughter's dead? Like,
he wasn't mentioned at all, nor was Rhaenys, but I assume they're still going to be in it. No spoilers there. But I also think the dragons were really cool as well.
Yeah.
Like seeing Vhagar as well. Vhagar's so cute. Just like a big old friendly dragon, like the biggest one in Westeros at that time. Who do you think your favorite dragon is so far?
I'd have to say that one. I think the issue with Prince Daemon's dragon is that I think I just can't get over the fact that the neck is just so long.
Yeah,
it's like,
and it makes weird noises like, oh.
Like how does it fly with such a long neck? Like compared to its wings. And I think another thing that I do like that they've done is it seems like since like the everything to do with Game of Thrones, they've actually really improved their CGI and the art of, you can actually see like with the dragons, you actually can see that how they're looking more and more realistic. So like I remember like seeing them.
Yeah.
Like seeing that in like episodes in season 2 of Game of Thrones, you saw that the CGI was a bit off. But I think one thing that they have done is that they've like perfected the craft when it comes to like CGI.
I don't know. I thought there were a couple of scenes, especially the scenes of King's Landing, that are all done in CGI that I thought were a little bit looking. Like, but sorry. Well, that's something I'm gonna have to properly beep out later. Finally did it. But there were some scenes of King's Landing that I just thought looked like Minecraft at one point. Like I would love to point them out in a video, but otherwise the dragons look really cool. They're like actual, like say if you're looking at a castle as well. Like I think Dragonstone is so cool. Like the set design, or what's going on in those areas. So like that bridge they go over.
To enter Dragonstone.
To enter Dragonstone, like with that confrontation between Daemon and Otto Hightower. That is really cool. Like some really good ideas for nice settings there for things to take place. And because there's not many battles in this, it is essentially like basically like Downton Abbey, isn't it? It's like a period drama, just in a fantasy world with dragons.
It does really feel like one. Like throughout the amount of times we've had podcasts, we've talked about like, the hunting scene, the fact that you've got so many things that's like have homage to like the medieval era that you see that it is kind of like a period drama. And I think one of the things that I really do like about the whole series, which they've taken from like Game of Thrones, is like trying to be as authentic as possible. Like in like key areas, like remember we've discussed like the jousting was accurate, and then also the part that they do when they were hunting was also very accurate as well. And I think one of the things that I really do like about this episode is you actually start to see, one, that the lines are being drawn, especially like in the clothes that they're wearing. The fact that Alicent's children are wearing
greenish clothes,
and then you see that Rhaenyra's children are wearing dark red and black. Yeah,
so I think they're like, cause they've got weather Velaryon stuff as well. That's why they've got those like ones. Who do you think looks cooler? Which uniform as such?
I would have to say that Alicent's children look better.
Yeah, come on, the red and blue. Like, what is this? They look like cartoon characters, don't they?
Yeah, and like
Thing 1 and Thing 2 from the Dr. Zeus universe.
And I think like even the part of the episode, I think one of the parts of the episode I really did like was the fact that you see now Sir Criston Cole is like full on scheming mode, like honor be damned. It's all out scheming.
I know he had a bit of a angry outburst in that episode, didn't he? I was like, damn.
Yeah, and the fact that Alicent might have like whispered in his ear to egg on what's that guy's name again?
Howard something strong.
Howard Strong?
I said him earlier. I can't remember. I can remember Larry Strong, and then I don't know, H Strong. Let's call him.
So H Strong, the fact that he egged him
Hot Daddy. Let's call him Hot Daddy because he is a hot daddy. He seems like a kind of good daddy.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's like when he left, and the fact that the eldest son was just looking at him like if he was his father, he probably would have been and was a very good father to his children.
I know. And do you reckon Rhaenyra kind of like still had like when he says goodbye? I thought she was going to be like, come here and kiss me. It's going to be like really romantic. Like, it's like, oh, this is like, she's technically not, this is all like illegitimate stuff, but they're in love. But no, it was a bit cold actually. I can't tell.
Yeah, and I can't
figure out how.
I think, does she actually really love him? Because like, I think, and the weird thing is, I think Criston Cole would have played that exact role if he decided to side with her and not to leave her.
Oh,
so then how
to be the side piece though?
Yeah, and also father her children. He would have played that exact same role. So the question is if someone else could easily like replace Criston Cole in that role, is it that does she actually love him that much, or is it that it's part love, part lust, and also someone to play the role in their scheme?
I think it's part lust because I think the whole thing about Alicent and Rhaenyra is they're kind of like opposites, aren't they?
Yeah.
Alicent's a lot more like she follows the rules. She believes in this whole society, even though she's not fully satisfied with it. Like, when she's banging Viserys, and more like Viserys is banging her, she's just lying on the bed, like staring up into space. Whilst when Rhaenyra is doing her thing. It still seems kind of weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's a lot more passionate and stuff. And there's like fan feeds online that Alicent's actually jealous of Rhaenyra's lifestyle, but in the show, she's dishonorable. She's sleeping around, blah blah blah. Like this is so against everything that must be done in society. So you've got two separate sides of the coin there.
Yeah, and it could also partly be the reason she dislikes her is that she can be so open. And I think she's partly ticked off the fact that how come you can get away with doing all of this, but then I can't do any of this. And also the fact that her father was kicked out for accusing her for doing something, which she now is doing and now basically flaunting it. And the whole court knows that she's doing it. But as you said, like her father's just wistfully thinking that it's kind of like with Tywin Lannister. Like he must have known that Jaime and Cersei were sleeping together. And the fact that Tyrion says it to him, and then he's like,
I can't remember yet. What did he say?
I think he said no. I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. And I think that was probably the same thing, that he was just wistfully thinking that no, it can't be true. It mustn't be true, or just thinking that this is too much of a stain. It mustn't be true.
Yeah, I mean, willful denial.
Yeah,
you know, like kind of what Viserys is doing. He wants to be blind to what's going on. I think he just doesn't want to accept it. He just wants there to be peace until he dies, because he's quite frankly crusty and looks like a bean.
Yeah, like what a lot of people.
Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
What a lot of people do, like if they're ill or at that stage, is like kind of like step down. Like I think the clever thing for him would have been to do is like step down as being king and been like whoever he wanted to choose to be his heir, let them run in as king, but he's still there.
We should have chosen Rhaenyra. You should have done that before he died. Like that would have been a better move.
Yeah, and like I think like if he was just like, oh, because of illness I must step down as king, but Rhaenyra will be queen in my stead and do everything that I was supposed to do, people would then get used to Rhaenyra being in charge. So then when he actually does kick the bucket, everyone will say, oh, it's business as usual, not a huge change. Everything's now changing. And also he'll be able to see everyone's reactions before he dies, and can nip it in the bud because he's still technically the king.
You should be hand of the king.
I know.
This is the sagest advice, anyone. You should be the prime minister of this country, other than what we've currently got. Yeah.
Thank you.
What do you think of the acting in the show? Because we had the big changeover, so we got two. Well, actually, we got quite a few new actors. We had Laenor as well. I think that's a new actor, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And then Rhaenyra, Alicent, obviously. What do you think?
I think all of them. I think Laenor's isn't. He isn't my cup of tea as of yet. Like, but Rhaenyra and Alicent, I think they were casted really well.
Yeah,
and I think it's like and you can kind of see that what they've done is try and see that they still have their traits as who they are.
Yeah.
You still see like the traits that Rhaenyra had when she was younger, which was willful, stubborn, always trying to push the boundaries, and it's more expressed.
Yeah.
And then you also see it within Alicent, where she's a person who sticks to the rules, who likes to have order.
But it's also a bit cracked beneath the surface. Like, remember she's scratching at her nails in like anxiety, or what would you call that? Like a bad habit. Spawned out of living in that sort of society, the anxiety and stuff. Yeah, and the fact that and also she's built up in a way that she's been alone this whole time. Like no one's really, like she mentioned in the episode, no one's really had her corner. No one's been on her side since her father left, and it was kind of like the sad thing for her was that she didn't realize that how lonely it could be if there's no one to back you up. Yeah, man. She said she was feeling a bit lonely as a queen. She said, remember, her and Rhaenyra have a bit of a heart to heart, where they've kind of made up. Well, not really made up, and they're like, Rhaenyra was like, Alicent was like, I'm really glad you're back, actually, because being queen, like everyone just sees you as the queen. No one's really your friend.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's a bit of a reunion now. Well, that's gone down the drain, hasn't it? Okay, let's play a game. We're gonna play a game of hot or not.
Okay.
So for this, we both count to 3. And on 3, so what I'll do is I'll call out a name. I'll say blah blah blah, hot or not, and then we go 1, 2, 3, and then we both say what we think at the same time.
Okay then.
Okay, we'll go through a couple here. Okay. The new Rhaenyra. Hot or what? Hot or not? 1, 2, 3. Hot. You have to say.
Oh.
Yeah, see how you do it?
Okay,
Okay.
understand.
The new Allison. 1, 2, 3.
Hot.
Hot. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Vhagar. 1, 2, 3.
Not.
Hot. No, I'd tap that dragon. Yeah. I mean, I do like these new characters, but it is a bit of a weird thing because you don't really see that in TV shows. It'll just be the one character swap. Whilst in this, we're going to actually get more with the kids, for example. They're going to swap over. I do quite like I don't know, you wouldn't call it plastic surgery, but the makeup effects that they do to make Viserys look older, make the Hand of the King look older.
Yeah, like they really did him a disservice. Like I was telling Jeffrey, literally they cut out the front of his hair, did a huge bold patch in the middle of his hair, and then just left everything else. And I was like, you could have at least just made him look older, keep his hair. Like he's gonna have to now go around for a while with like a huge bold patch in the middle of his head. People thinking that, oh my days, what's happened? He's aged like 10 years.
He's actually a good, honest man. All the people with hair are dishonest people who want ambition.
Yeah, the king's losing his hair. He's almost completely bald.
Yeah,
you've got the Hand of the King is almost completely bald.
Everyone else who has hair is being really ambitious in it. Like even Corlys Velaryon, like everyone.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can trust a bold man.
Yeah.
You can always trust a bold man.
One thing I was speaking to Jeffrey about, in the actual the book, are Rhaenyra's children, are they technically bastards? Because I don't think they are in the books. I don't think they are.
In the books, it is kind of mentioned as stuff of Hara and Strong, but it's only kept as rumor. And I don't think they talk about the hair color. And I think the
because I think
Targaryen blonde still shines.
And it's weird because like they did, I think it was like Warner Brothers, HBO did like some kind of like animated story about this whole thing. I think it still might be online under Game of Thrones. It might be under there. It's like an animated like history thing they did. I remember watching that, and they did talk about the Dance of Dragons. And in that, they all had the unique white hair. So
could you send that to me?
Yeah, I can send it to you, and possibly even like put it in the not comment section, but the video info underneath. If they still have it, they might have removed it because it's got spoilers for the TV series. But I'll see if they still have it up. But they all have like white hair. So all of our children have white hair.
Oh yeah, so there we go. I think that's how it is in the book. So maybe they stuck to the books. I'm trying to think how this episode has been different from the book. I think it's only really rumored about Rhaenyra's kids being Harwin Strong's, but it's never. I don't think it's ever revealed in such a way. What else? Also, Kristen Cole. It's him that spurns Rhaenyra. He doesn't sleep with her. He refuses her when she does that crap a couple episodes ago. But then they're bitter because of that, because Rhaenyra's like spurned by a love interest.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. What else? I guess the Laenor stuff, I can't really remember much from the book. I might need to read it, but I don't think that marriage went as deep that they had that. I don't know. I'll have to come back on that one.
Yeah. And like the issue is like, because like we know how it's supposed to go, like there's like this series brings up so many questions as well.
Like what?
Like I think is I don't want to give it away because the fans. So if you listen past this point, this is major spoilers. So if you do not want to know anything else about the TV series, please pause it here, and we'll also put like a bookmark where you can pick up from.
Nice. What does this button do?
LOL.
Oh, I totally forgot about that button this whole time.
LOL. So okay, this is the last one, everyone. Spoilers, major spoilers. So when Daemon and also Princess Rhaenyra marry, they also have children. So therefore, which children would she favor then? Would she favor her?
That's a third set of kids to throw into the mix.
Yeah, like, and I think that's just like the weird thing about it is that I don't think the books all go into detail about Daemon marrying someone else and having kids with that person. It more kind of seemed like he was just waiting in the wings and then he married Rhaena when she tried to take the throne from her half brother Aegon, who also wanted to take the throne, and they had children together. So the question is are they going to say it that no, the children that are in the fight, that some of them end up dying, are all her children through
Daemon?
Through Daemon, or are they going to be children through her alleged marriage to the Valerian family?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember what happens. I reread this book recently, but those questions, because I'm not used to having such heavy spoilers on the show, might have to get Jeffrey to completely beep out just a really long beep, or just me going, lol, lol, for like 24 minutes.
Mm.
I'm not sure. Okay. Spoiler time. What do you think is going to happen next episode?
I think the key...
Apart from what you just said. Spoiler. You can't say that.
I think the key critical thing is that Daemon's going to arrive back in Dragonstone, which he technically still thinks is his. And then he's then going to bump into Rhaenyra and her family. And then the question is it going to be all happy families, or is it going to be, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
This is mine. And then her telling her, no, this is actually my inheritance as being the heir to the Targaryens. And then is this when could this then bring back their love interest they had with each other to build up their relationship?
Damn, Daemon.
Or is this basically a time where they can build up their alliance, and then she realizes that, oh, I need to start building up an alliance similar to what Alicent will probably also do the exact same thing, because she's now technically got King's Landing to herself.
Alicent or Rhaenyra? Oh,
Alicent,
yeah,
because
Rhaenyra
has left to go to Dragonstone with all her children and all of their handmaidens and everybody. So it's actually favorable for Queen Alicent, because then her being in King's Landing, similar to the way that Baelish set everything up that betrayed Ned Stark, she could actually start putting in roots and start to undermine anything that would help Rhaenyra when she possibly takes the throne.
Do you think fighting will start happening? Like, do you think it will like openly be war? Well, I say openly be war behind the scenes, like that's going to start as trying to assassinate each other now, or is that actually going to be like the Dance of Dragons starting next episode?
That's the thing. Like, would you prefer to have the Dance of Dragons to be for a whole season? So potentially for season 2 to be the whole of the Dance of the Dragons.
I feel like they're going to set that up.
Yeah. Or do you want it to be that half of that Dance of the Dragons, like the beginning of the Dance of the Dragons takes place in season 1 and then goes into the rest of season 2?
But then I guess that's the same with Game of Thrones, because like, for example, the Clash of Kings, it basically starts towards the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Because Jaime gets taken hostage after the battle that they lose. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because in the season 1 of Game of Thrones, they basically they don't really show you any battles because they just don't have the budget.
They just show you the what happens afterwards. Yeah.
Whilst with this, they actually do have the budget, but they've just blown that. I mean, I think they've spent it in the right places. They've put that budget into like some really good actors, some brilliant set design, some amazing cinematography as well. Like the scene from episode 2 with Rhaenyra and Alicent just in the chapel, in front of all those candles. That is just such a beautiful scene. And similar in this, there was what was a really beautiful scene in this one?
I would say the view of the city. If it was Pentos or Bravos, when Daemon stands outside and just looks at the city, and he's talking to his wife, I think that is a really picturesque scene there.
Yeah,
and I think
and of course the scene at the beginning as well with Rhaenyra when she gives birth.
Yeah,
and it's just like that. That's entirely shot in one scene. I love it when they do that in TV show, because how many times do you reckon they screwed up?
Yeah,
halfway through, and like also, I mean, like that whole idea of that scene, like she had the afterbirth and like she was bleeding along the floor. It's so crazy. Like, there's so many. Even though there's no fighting and epic battles, and it's apart from the Stepstones, but that was only for a little bit. It's like the drama of it is so well done.
Yeah,
like the dialogue. I think that's where that $200 million, is it $200 million have gone into this? And I think that's more than Game of Thrones season. I think like they're at the height of one of their seasons. Not more than Rings of Power though. $400 million. Damn. Like Jeff Bezos with that money,
Yeah.
Actually, what do you think of Rings of Power? Go on, we got a few minutes. Let's discuss Rings
I
of
would
Power.
say I'm still delayed. Like I've only because we all want to watch it as a family because all four of us are interested in watching it.
Oh,
So
that's gonna be painful to wait. Don't do that.
and that's
Just watch
why
it by yourself.
and the sad thing, annoying thing is that it's the same things happen with like Marvel. So thankfully, I've said I put like a due date like October the 17th is do or die when it comes to Marvel. So literally, we're watching all of the. I'm literally ahead on Marvel.
Setting
So
a deadline for the family to watch them.
so I'm ahead with Marvel with the film. So I've watched all the films up to date.
Yeah.
But I'm behind on the TV series because we watch those together. So the annoying thing is that I've seen things like in Doctor Strange 2 or in the fourth Iron Man film, which is teased
all interlinked
into the TV series. But I'm still like, we finished Winter Soldier. So what we need to do is not Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we now need to go into Hawkeye TV series.
But are there spoilers within that for the other series, like a character crossover episode?
I think in Hulk and She-Hulk there is, because I've just been hearing it all of it online, and like there's major things that take place at the end of like Hawkeye, which talks like it's big for the universe. But like going back to Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power, it's that I need to like put like a huge deadline.
I was like, let's talk about Rings of Power. And then we just banging on about Marvel.
So definitely the deadline for Rings of Power to catch up, because it'll be like 3 episodes now, is this weekend. Where we're going to watch all the episode 4, 5, and then 6 will be out.
And is that the same with House of the Dragon, or are you just
no.
solo winging it?
I'm solo winging it. I can't wait because things will just get spoiled. And then, like, if I wait, then how will we have this podcast?
I saw so many spoilers yesterday. Like, I had to wait until evening to watch. Well, I suppose I normally do anyway. But, like, just at Facebook, so many bloody spoilers out there for, like, House of the Dragon and Rings of the Power as well. But I think out of the two, well, which do you prefer out of the two? Rings of Power or House of the Dragon?
I would say House of the Dragons, just because I know more of the lore around like, the story of Ice and Fire. And I think if I knew more about the lore of Lord of the Rings, maybe I would like watch...
Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the weird thing about it is that I did share with you the video that, like, and I can even put this under in the comment section or in the
we're going to leave a little list for you guys to watch. Yeah.
The fact that Tolkien did actually put like the economy of like how his world works, and I think maybe that's where George R. R. Martin got it from, because I know that George R. R. Martin is a major Tolkien fan, as in he loves Tolkien's works. And I think maybe that's where he then decided to go into like, how does his world work? This is how it works. This is the history. This is the trade that goes on between people. This is why this takes place. This is how that takes place. And I think that I would like the Rings of Power more if I knew more. But then it's like when I'm a really big like Star Wars fan. So then my sister
we haven't spoken about Andor yet. I know. There's too much on at the moment.
I know, it's
my nerd brain can't handle it.
People are saying like this is like peak streaming, whether it's music or TV or movies. This is the peak where there's so many good stuff to watch that it's hard to sit down and watch it all. Because
I'm just thinking about what's going on and like, you know, what we like. Like we love geeky science fiction, fantasy. But what about other TV shows?
Like even like if you
Love
just look
Island, for example. And we talk about Love Island.
Imagine if they did like House of the Dragon Love Island edition.
Oh my god, it'd just all be Targaryens on there. That's what would be weird. There'd be one person who's clearly like Harwin. Yeah. I'm a Targaryen.
And I think like to your point, like you got Stranger Things, you've got Star Trek Discovery series, you've got Picard, which is linked to the Star Trek universe. You also have a new Star Trek coming out. Then you've got like my brother watches like Star Trek Lower Decks. You've got like 5 different Star Trek series all at once. And they're even like thinking about rebranding the films. So you know the ones with Chris Pine. I think they want to go back to those as well.
What, redo them or continue them?
I think maybe redo them. I think like redo the whole universe. So then you've got like 6 different Star Trek things which are going on at once. Star Wars is like a lot of it is like so the movies are on pause, but you have like the Acolyte, which they've mentioned, which is about like basically a Sith version of a Padawan, which is basically an apprentice. So before they become apprentice, they're called an Acolyte, and learning how they use the power of the Force and learn the dark side.
Right.
You've got like the Ahsoka TV series, which they're trying to do. They're trying to like bring in, for those who've watched Rebels, they're trying to bring in like Grand Admiral Thrawn into the Star Wars universe, but they're trying to decide like who they want to play as Thrawn. Everyone has been like, pick Benedict Cumberbatch, but he doesn't want to because he's like, I don't want to put on makeup. And you kind of understand, like, for like,
look great in makeup,
for like a film,
such cheekbones.
the thing is, the makeup is like, Thrawn is like just completely blue with red eyes.
Right.
So literally, he would have to wear like blue face, blue arms, blue everything for like, and I think
like the Blue Man Group.
basically, yeah. And I think that's what he's not too fond of. But people have said like, potentially Thrawn could be played by Matt Smith because people are like, they really like him in House of the Dragon. And also those who watched like the Morbius film, they said that he was like one of the only big like saving grace in the Morbius film, the Marvel Morbius film about, for those who haven't watched it, it's basically Morbius who has a disease who basically becomes a vampire bat. We're really diverging off topic.
It's okay. We came early to the studio. We got that.
So then like Star Wars, you've got Endor, you've got Kenobi season 2, Mandalorian season 3, you've got the Ahsoka series, what they're going to do with Thrawn. And then they've got this whole Disney initiative about the High Republic, which they've like wrote books for. They said they're going to do like TV series for.
Making money, milking that universe, try to happens when...
And then you've got like Marvel, which is way too big right now, because then people are like, okay, then...
I've lost faith in Marvel. I honestly, like, I didn't like before Love and Thunder. It was like, okay, but it's like, it was trying too hard to be funny.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe we've spoken about this before on the show. I think we have.
I think we have.
Yeah. I've lost it. I'm just not interested in Marvel anymore at the moment.
I think what Marvel want to do is maybe put the Marvel we know on pause and bring in like Blade, bring in the Fantastic Four, bring
Blade
in
will be cool.
the X-Men. And that's why they like brought in Namor for like Black Panther 2, because he is like funnily enough, fans might not know this, Namor is the first comic book superhero and comic book character in history. Like
really?
He's before Superman, he's before Batman, comic book superhero, yeah.
Not from a particular universe or just
no, in like ever in history.
Who owns it now though? Is it
Marvel owns it, but it was like an individual. It was an individual like comic that had it and had Namor. I think I've forgotten what his title was. It was like Namor the Submariner. I think that's what they called him. So you've got like Namor that they're trying to bring in, and he's like a major character with Fantastic Four. You also have like Kang, who they're bringing in Ant-Man 3, who's a major Fantastic Four villain. You've also got what is Marvel going to do with the X-Men, which they're trying to bring in as well. So I think they might just put everything like on pause for like, the original Avengers, like the Hulk is probably going to go on pause for a bit as well.
Yeah, because all the like less ones they can't get dark with. Because Blade is kind of dark.
Yeah, and I think, and then Moon Knight, they're probably going to release a season. They are going to release a season 2 for Moon Knight. You've got Loki. I
haven't seen that yet. Loki, yeah. I'm in for that. That was
definitely. The ending of Loki was amazing. Like,
and that soundtrack, I can't wait. I love that soundtrack and the intro. So I'm like, a good soundtrack wins a show. Like Stranger Things soundtrack, like loving the synthiness to that. I'd say House of Dragons reasonable. Like it's kind of more. They're trading a lot off from the Game of Thrones one. It is pretty cool, but that's still pretty awesome. That works like the intro song. Yeah. Rings of Power. I
think
actually, you know what? Yeah. No, actually, Rings of Power is good. Remember in the episode that's you haven't seen the most recent episode?
Yes, that's
almost spoiled it. I didn't even spoil it for House of Dragons. Spoiled it for something else, but yeah, that was a close call. Any last thing you want to add about this episode or anything else going on with the universe of geekiness that we have shared in common?
One thing, are you a Harry Potter fan? That's one thing.
Oh, not really, to be honest. Like,
Hmm.
I've watched all the Harry Potters, but I was very lackluster with it. I still haven't seen The Crimes of Grindelwald. Grindelwald? I did like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but
Hmm.
it's not that interesting. But why? Is there something coming out
I
for Harry
think
Potter?
Harry Potter are trying. It's supposed to be one of the biggest games coming out early next year. It's now I've even forgotten the name of the game.
Do you remember
It's
Harry Potter Friends on YouTube?
yeah.
Ron Weasley, Dumbledore.
So like I forgot. Oh my! I'm kicking myself for getting the. So basically, there is a Harry Potter game, which basically is a person basically gets the Hogwarts experience.
Hogwarts experience, what,
Um,
first class with the chocolate frogs?
And I think the way that they've been able to develop I think it's Hogwarts Legacy. I think the game's called.
Oh, right.
And
okay.
like the way that they're pitting it is possibly a Hogwarts version of basically an RPG where you get to play and pick the decisions you want to do. And I think what things that's got fans
that would be
interested
cool.
in is that you can also do the dark arts, and like there's a completely like dark there's a dark tone to it, and also there are
Could you become
missions
a
and
Sith?
storylines
Yeah.
that go towards if you choose to go down a dark path. And I think
Oh, wow. Like
I
Mass
think-
Effect.
I think
those
people are
other games.
like in the Harry Potter universe, like if this game works, it's going to be amazing. But based off like Cyberpunk and other games that come up in the last few years, like you could even throw like the latest Battlefield game there as well, that they've overpromised and then fans have been really reluctant. And now we're reluctant.
I don't know, mate. It sounds like they could be overpromising with this.
That's the thing. And I think like in that space, because like I think Harry Potter fans are really hyped for this because they don't see any books or a TV series coming in the future. Potentially, maybe another film coming out. But I think, like in the major geek brands, I think Harry Potter is the only one which has really nothing coming out huge anytime soon. Because like DC,
Yeah, that's true. I haven't
DC
heard of
still
any
have
new
like
movies.
their Flash film that they keep trying to get off the ground with all the issues that Ezra Miller's keeps on
Yeah, I
getting
read
involved
something
with.
weird about.
Yeah, it's
about guns.
it's
I was like, what?
it's worse than that. It's crazy. If you read like all the stuff that he's done, it's like he needs help.
Okay,
It's
fair.
that bad. And then
okay.
they also have the Aquaman film that I believe is going to come out either next year or the year after. And they're also trying to like rebrand the whole DC universe as well because they're not sure who they want to bring back for the next stage. And they are going to do another Batman film
I hope they're
based
not
on the recent one that they.
Good. Because if they're remaking it again,
No.
I'm getting a little like it's like remake overload going on.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like it's been going on for ages, but they've been like or at least resurrecting these old series. Like Star Wars has been resurrected, Lord of the Rings has now been resurrected.
Yeah.
To a satisfactory extent of Rings of Power.
And then
I just wouldn't surprise me if someone buys the rights to Harry Potter, like Disney buys the rights to that.
I know the rights. I think is Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers own the rights. Yeah, Warner Brothers own the rights to Harry Potter. So if we just look at it, like I think nearly all like the sci-fi, maybe Dune is but I think Warner Brothers might have bought the rights to Dune as well.
Right. Okay.
But I think like some of like the major like fantasy or sci-fi are owned by like a major brand because like CBS,
Jeff Bezos owns.
so like CBS, like the major a major television company own like Star Trek, and so X-Men, everything Marvel is linked to Star Wars, and even like my brother was a really big like Percy Jackson fan and read the books.
I've only seen that one movie. That's
like Disney have bought the rights, and they're developing like a TV series for Percy Jackson, which is going to be the way that my brother was telling me the trailer was like. It's more in tone with the books and less like, oh, this is trying to take the new Harry Potter. Like, how many times did you? I remember growing up or just listening. Oh, this film series will be the new Harry Potter, and you just feel like it was a big flop. Another thing that's good. Have you watched the Alex Rider TV series at all?
Was that about the spot, like the young spy? I've read one of the books when I was a kid.
You should watch the TV series. Me and my brother watch it. It's really good.
Is it more themed towards a younger audience?
No.
Really?
I think the thing I like about it was that the film was like tailored towards like a young audience, and it didn't make a lot of sense.
What?
But then,
okay. Is it like a B movie?
Yeah, but the TV series, I think they got really good actors.
There's a film. Okay.
So they got their film that came out maybe like 2008 or 2009, which didn't really do very well. It had like really big names, like you had Stephen Fry was in it, Bill Nighy was in it. You had the actor who plays, I believe Hagrid. Hagrid's the one who's he plays the Prime Minister. They had like, what's his name? I think it's Mickey Rourke. You know the guy who was the villain in Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. Yeah,
he played the main villain. So they had like big names, but I think it was just too unbelievable. But I think what they've done now is like they've focused on. I think the film was made by Americans as well, so it didn't really get the British vibe.
The British vibe,
and all the London vibes,
because like the weather in it.
No, but like,
that kind of dialogue.
It's kind of like something's based in London when it shows stuff about London, but it kind of seemed like they were just like picking like small bits of basically like Fast and Furious when it was based in London.
Well, they're just showing off all the iconic
locations. That's what basically they were doing in the Alex Rider film. But in the TV series, it actually gives you a feel of like, this is what London looks like. This is what happens in London. And I think it's a lot
bad things.
And it's a lot darker as well than the film.
Yep,
and I'd recommend people I recommend people to watch it because it's got like, the actor who plays Stannis Baratheon.
I can't remember his name.
He's in it. He's in it, and he's the one who's basically not really like Alex Rider's handler, but is like Alex Rider's handler's boss.
Right. Yes, you can tell we've come far along in the podcast. I need to stop more of your word. Alex Rider.
I know,
but no, fair. There's a lot out there. And, in terms of what we want to talk about after this show, once we're done with House of Dragon until the new series comes out, we need to find something new. Maybe one of our billions of audience members can give us a suggestion. I think what I had in mind was maybe if we like look at each one of these universes you mentioned, just spend one episode talking about them. Because unless we time it for a TV show to come on, but we've missed Andor, we've missed Rings of Power, although this is basically House of the Ring, the Rings of the Dragon. That's what we should call this show. We spent about 5 minutes talking about Rings of Power in it, each episode. But yeah, I guess that's all we've got time for today. Oh my God, that's the time already.
Wow. I think this is our longest episode.
Yeah, I think so. Looks like I need to go burn out the crab feeder and the stepstones. Oh well, that's all. Thank you, Josh. And a big special thanks to Jeffrey from the Pick Up the Mic Network. #name drop. To my audience as well, I say I love you. I would love you even more if you'd subscribe to our Patreon page in the link below. Extra points for you if you click like or leave us a lovely comment saying how damn amazing myself and Josh are.
Oh, that would be perfect. And also, leave a comment on what we should focus on after House of the Dragon is finished.
Exactly. We need your advice because there's just too much to choose from as we've gone on.
We'll end up going on a tangent and having a 2-hour episode talking about anything and everything about sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah, let's just have one called Sci-Fi and Fantasy and just see what happens. I'd be up for that. And don't forget, folks, to click the notification bell so you can find out when our next episode is released. Tongue twists! Damn. Goodbye, you lovely people, and enjoy the rest of your week.
See you next time, folks.
Bye-bye.